Nana Manahar, St. Vic, St. Spirit Neve, Amen. Dia Yiv. God with you. Father Brendan Kilcoyne, coming to you from Athenry, County Galway with the Brendan option, courtesy of Immaculata Productions. You may care to take a toddle in the direction of the subscribe button. Always a good thing to do. And if you're feeling particularly generous or perhaps just have taken drink, you might wish to hand over your life savings to us on Patreon. We'll give you enough to live. Okay, no, that was a joke. I just wanted to chat to you today, and look, I'm not doing this as some sort of intellectual, which I'm not, but I just want to chat to you about another ground I think maybe we may have come close to giving up, which belongs very naturally to us and to which we have made an enormous contribution throughout the history of our church. And that's the whole area of the liberal arts, which is characteristic of the Catholic education. Liberal arts and sciences. Okay, as they used to call it, natural philosophy. And to make a plea for our getting back with more vigour into it, I'll tell you something that's terrifying me, is the notion that modern Irish Catholic culture, and it's a small affair, may not produce any literature. We have the oldest vernacular literature in the world, in Ireland. In Europe. The oldest vernacular literature. Vernacular, in the sense of not in Latin. Okay, in Irish. And that is the achievement of the Irish Church at that time. This is not good. I made a reference in an earlier video to the fact that Pasolini, for his great film on the Gospel according to Matthew, got a prestigious international prize from the Pope for his film. I don't know, what is it? Are we afraid of getting into it because it's so pagan, it's so alien? Are we playing it so safe that no poor bishop feels that he could possibly take the risk of giving a prize to a work that might be largely profane? Why not? Why not give a prize to a profane work of literature? Profane in the sense that it's not intentionally sacred in its character. Why not? If that work explores the condition of man as a thinking and believing animal, as a being of faith and doubt, of trust and betrayal, of achievement and abysmal failure. Why not? The whole woke thing, and you mark my words, all right? Go to a more learned man or a more learned woman if you want, and you get a better account of this. The whole woke thing seems to be very much focused in the humanities faculties, in universities. It's not coming out of engineering. It's not coming out of the sciences. Scientists tend to be very, very focused on what they're at. Professor Dawkins is an exception. There are other exceptions, but mostly scientists just get on with it. They're crazy about science. They just get on with the work of science. And they don't worry about metaphysics or things like that. Or if they do, they don't bring it into their work. It's mostly in the humanities that this has happened. And I would put it to you, are in danger of abandoning the humanities. But if you abandon the humanities, are man, if not talking to God, at least talking to himself. The humanities are a mirror which humanity holds up to itself. It's a reverie. It's a murmur an endless murmur of conversation going on between humanity and humanity. If not humanity and God, and sometimes it is humanity and God. Sometimes it's both. If we give up that ground, we are betraying so much of what we have come from and abandoning tools of evangelization which were proved, the worth of which were proved in the days of Augustine and before. This is madness. It is sheer madness. So I'm making a plea for Irish Catholic writers. And one thing I don't like are these writers who are Catholic who say, oh, well, I'm not a Catholic writer, I'm just a writer. Why not a Catholic writer? If your genius has been informed by Catholicism, why not wear that? Why not wear that cap? Why not wear that suit to the debate? I have a bad feeling about this, I'm telling you. We're not where we should be. We belong in there. We need writers. We need poets. We need, especially musicians. And I mean, there are grounds for regarding, well, if you believe John Waters, and I do, there are grounds for believing rock and roll to be a perfectly valid area of spiritual exploration and expression and dialogue and debate. We have to express this faith that we have. We're the remnant who have this faith. We have to express it in literature, poetry, art. If you have those talents, should you not be considering that you're meant to be doing something with them? I mean, I am only able to come to you through this medium. I'm only able to do this because of gifted people who are willing to use their art for this. Film is is arguably the great modern art form. There are symphonies in film. Should we not as a church be putting money into that, no matter how daft that may look? In little Irish cottages where people had nothing in the past, they would spend money on stocking a dresser with some decent china, which was maybe only used a few times a year. Sometimes they would even dedicate a room as a parlour. People who would see that as a waste don't know anything about people. One must have a little beauty in one's life. Chesterton would have had a field day with it. It's only patronising rich people who can go on saying, why would poor people spend money on a piece of china? Poor people have to spend some money on a piece of china. They must express their human dignity, their love of beauty in their home, to some extent, insofar as they can afford it. The Irish Church is banjaxed. This is the time to put what's left, the rent money, into the arts. Do what's counterintuitive here. And it will serve us well as it served us well in the past. But that will take an act of faith, and I wonder if we have faith anymore. I wonder if not, in the words of Yeats, so often quoted, romantic Ireland isn't dead and gone, and with O'Leary in the grave. You remember the lines. Do we have the greatness for art? Can we worship God anymore in art? And you go into some Catholic churches and you would nearly be proud. I think it's Walker Percy, I remember, the American writer. I remember reading an article by him, and he talked about all the beautiful Protestant churches in his town and how proud he was to go to the Catholic church, which was by far the ugliest and most tasteless in the whole town, because he said you needed faith to go there. Well, thanks be to God. I mean, you need faith to go into some Catholic churches in Ireland. There is so little of beauty in them. I'm sorry. And often the beauty is what was done in the past, while I'm on the subject, and paid for by poor men and women, while I'm still on the subject. I put it to you that there is nothing more urgent as we lie in the ditch in 3 foot of water, with rats as big as heifers swimming up and down past us. There is nothing more urgent in our present condition in the Irish Church than that we waste money on culture. You may object, the artists will be ungrateful. They may even write things criticising us. Oh, for God's sake. Artists are always ungrateful. You wait for an artist to be grateful, you'll have a long wait. These are, as the Gaelic order used to call them, the Easthana, the bold ones. Paddy Kavanagh prided himself on taking a pint from somebody and then insulting him. There's no point. Kavanagh used to have breakfast with John Charles McQuaid and then, give out hell about him, the feared Archbishop of Dublin. He was a put. He could go where he wished. He expected to be put up. We need to get back to our reverence for the arts and our reverence for artists and musicians. We need to start telling people about Jesus Christ in the most beautiful and captivating language, with the most beautiful imagery, with great art. Nothing else will do. He deserves nothing less. In the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit, amen. Dia is Muriyev, God and Mary with you.